Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's just gone. Oh, it has literally just gone 3 AM. That was not how I intended to time it, but there we go. Yes, it's 3 AM. It's whatever day it is. What is it? 15th of August. It's a Tuesday. It's the middle of summer holidays, so I've lost track. And we are going to finish, hopefully, the patch 2.x retrospective today. We're going to finish the second half of Before the Fall Part 2, which is patch 2.55, the final story patch of A Realm Reborn. Last episode we had a lot of Ishgardian drama, a Dravanian attack on the Steps of Faith, where we fought Vishnap, a big-ass dragon who was making his way down the Steps of Faith because Izel, or Iceheart, Lady Iceheart, she who summoned Shiva in Dreams of Ice, she's broken the first layer of the wards surrounding Ishgard, and we've gone some ways to bridge relations with the Ishgardians. We've made allies of them as the Way of Light, if not as a member of any other organisation. But we've still got a few plot lines left to wrap up. The main one being that, as Riel suspected, something, we don't know what, but something is going on with the Crystal Braves. So we're going to leap straight into it. Minophilia seems loath to put you to further trouble so soon after your last great exertion. Yes, it's been a few hours since we did the Steps of Faith. This is the very next quest. You must be weary, Demajen, and now may very well be your only chance to... Antecedent? Hi, Tataru. A message from UL'DAH arrived with a missive for you. What's going on? The Royal Seal. Curious indeed. So this is from Nanamo. Ah, an invitation. On behalf of the Council of the Eorzean Alliance, Her Royal Majesty Nanamo Unamo invites the Scions of the Seventh Dawn to attend a feast at the Royal Palace of UL'DAH in honour of Ishgard's recent victory. It would seem we are to be recognised for our part in lifting the siege. You for your valiant efforts as commander of the adventurous contingent, and the Archons for their earnest attempts to rouse the city-states. Truly, I find it strange that the Alliance leaders should think themselves deserving of a place at such a celebration. Ooh, that's a bit of a burn on the city leaders, though, to be fair, she does make a good point. They didn't exactly offer a huge amount of aid. All three refused to deploy their standing armies, preferring to send hastily assembled companies of sellswords, many of whom perished before the siege began. Are they truly so brazen as to seek to share in the glory of your triumph? Well, as it happens, I don't really think that's their plan. But perhaps they simply seek a pretext to meet with the Ishgardians while the mood is still jubilant. Such an occasion would present a fine opportunity to press for Ishgard to return to the Eorzean Alliance. We have scarce had time to mourn Moonbreeder, and I for one am in no mood to carouse, but I suppose we must put away our grief for the good of the realm. Though you were promised rest, I feel I must insist that you also attend. It would be a strange celebration indeed if the victorious hero were not present. Pray content yourself with the thought that such occasions may bring about momentous change, and this without recourse to bloodshed. Tataru, if you do me the favour of contacting the rest of the Scions. Of course, Antecedent. And please let me know if there's anything else I can do. What was that? That was a very big sigh. Curious. I've never known Tataru to sigh at such requests. Could something be amiss? Let's go and find out. she's not there. This is one of the weird things about not having played all of this since April 2015. I won't say anything's going to surprise me because I do vaguely remember what happens, but the minutiae of it are lacking. Totaro is conspicuous by her absence. Oh, Flamine! Totaro? I believe she just stepped outside. Now that I think on it, she did seem rather preoccupied. Right. Where is Totaro? As it happens, she's up here, looking out over the camp. Oh, Demajen, it's you. I didn't mean to worry anyone, it's nothing really. Well, it's not nothing exactly, but it feels like nothing compared to the towering trials you and the others face every day. And that's why I should probably talk to Minflu before things get any worse. You always know what to say, Demajen. Glad we had this little chat. Sometimes I feel like we should just shrug at the end of conversations. People constantly putting words in our mouth. In our mouths? Mouth. Totaro is used reasonably well in this patch for a little, and the last one actually, for a little bit of levity amongst the pretty severe and in some ways depressing stuff that happens elsewhere. Yes, Totaro, you have my undivided attention. I've been hesitant to approach the subject, what with all the recent excitement, but Demajen made me realise that there's no time like the present, and time is what I'm here to ask you for. I'm not sure I understand. If you wish to be excused from your duties for a time, then you certainly earn the rest. But I suspect that lying abed is far from your intent. You know me too well, Antecedent. There is in fact something I've been wanting to try my hand at. Along with the adventurers and the crystal braves, the Scions are constantly being thrown into dangerous battles and deadly predicaments. Even Horibold and Coultenay have been promoted from guard duty to fill our need for competent warriors. And so it seems only right that I too should acquire the power to defend myself, and others, more importantly. When I return, I shall be both your receptionist and your bodyguard. So she's gone from being she's gone from being a receptionist to a receptionist and a miner, as in somebody who mines, not somebody who's underage. And now she's going to go and do some martial training because reasons. That's the first time I've always been knocked down to the ground by a Lalafell. I've never seen Mr. Tataru so deserved. Tataru. So determined. Has anything befell which I might help? With which I might help? Can't read this morning. Not at present, thank you. Was there something you'd ask of me? Oh, yes. Pray excuse my distraction. An adventurer who was to join us for escort duty was injured while out on patrol, and I fear we cannot properly defend the scholars entrusted to our protection without the aid of at least one more guard. Therefore, I humbly request that another adventurer, of the capable kind, of course, to be assigned to our party. I wonder who that could be. Very well. I shall consider the potential candidates and provide you with a replacement as soon as I am able. My thanks, Antecedent. I take my leave of you. Ah, that hair. It's so amazing. Ooh. Right, so there's two story quests here. An unexpected ambition deals with Totaro. power to defend oneself. THAL has ever been full of surprises. Now that I think on it, I do recall UL'DAH mentioning that she had developed an interest in Arcanima. Perhaps she hopes to gain admittance to the Arcanist Guild in LIMSALOMINSA. Yes, that will be the way of it. Would you be so kind as to journey to the guild and see that all is well? It is doubtless unwarranted, but surely I am not alone in my concern for her safety. And also, I wonder, do you perchance recall the commitment I made to furnish Horribold with a capable adventurer? Yes, it was like a minute ago. Well, I'm sorry to say that I've yet been able to do so. Now, I realise that you're rather more than a capable adventurer, and that escort duty is frankly beneath a woman of your talents, but I have no one else to turn to at present. Might you be willing to forgo rest and assist us in the matter? Generous to a fault. Now, it seems only fair that I explain the importance of the task in question. For some time, our order has employed a handful of scholars to travel around Eorzea taking etheric readings that we might better understand the impact of primal summonings. Naturally, it behooves us to ensure our employees' safety, so we asked the adventurers in our service to serve as escorts. Horribold and Coltner were to act as two such escorts, as was a third. Alas, due to injury, said adventurer is not presently fit for duty, hence my need to impose upon your goodwill. You truly are a pillar of strength. Yes, it's a good job we're a video game character and don't actually need rest. Horribold will share with you the details of your task. He should be waiting for you outside. Be safe. So, I seem to call each of these chains off into a second one. Ah, Demajen, is it true that you agreed to lend us a hand? Yes. Huzzah! What did I tell you, Coltner? Our misfortune has become a blessing, an opportunity to serve alongside the warrior of light herself. Need I remind you that we have 3 scholars to escort, each of whom will take a different route? True, but our mission is the same. Separated by miles we may be, but in spirit we shall be together. If such thoughts bring you joy, you are welcome to think them. To more practical concerns, Demajen, we would have you attend to the scholar charged with surveying the South Shroud. He's waiting at Camp Tranquil as we speak. All you need do is follow the man. He will determine the most appropriate locations to take his readings. In spirit, Demajen, in spirit we shall be together every step of the way. I think it's possible that Horribold looks up to us just a little bit too much. Okay, so this next bit's got a chunk of travelling around. Here we have the Unsettled Scholar. Is that male or female? I can't tell. I think that's male. At last, the Signs woman deigns to grace me with her presence. A pity that we have no time for pleasantries. Our first destination is Issamhar. Come, we are late enough as it is. Yes, that is a man. So Issamhar, which as we know is the site of the Palace of the Dead. Although the Palace of the Dead didn't exist. Not actually in game anyway. Whether they got any ideas about the lore of it before was another matter entirely. But Issamhar as the Palace of the Dead was not a thing. The pit was hit though, and there was weirdness below. Yes, this location should suffice. Once I finish calibrating my instruments, I will require but a moment to take the necessary measurements. I trust you need not explain that my work can suffer no interruption. Then please stand at an appropriate distance and keep watch for wild beasts. think we're going to get attacked. Shocking. Violet fly traps. I've always liked these fly trap models. I like the way the wilt as well. Is that the Emperor Ogre fly over there? Ah, I see we have both completed our respective tasks. A satisfactory outcome. Though if I could make one suggestion, you might try to dispatch your foes more quietly in the future. I do not like to pick fault, but I really must be allowed to concentrate. Now then, snake malt awaits, shall we? What a delight this guy is. Irritatingly, snake malt is on the other side of this big loop. Not entirely sure what's in the middle. I think it must just be woodland. Yeah, because the Lost City's on the other side. Amdapur Keep is this way. Lost City's over there. Looks like there are some Amdapur ruins, if nothing else. So that's what's in the middle. Some kind of ruined fort structure. Again, some of the things that you don't necessarily notice unless you really think about these things. Right about here, yes. As before, I'd ask that you keep an eye out for dangerous beasts as I work. But we need to be quieter about it. Get rid of this treant because it's huge and in the way. I do like those little mice. Death mice. Fascinating. These readings are not at all what I expected. Though, perhaps that should come as no surprise. I'm not given to superstition, but there is a queer, almost blasphemous air hereabouts. Let us quit this place and return to Roots Lake. We have one more site to survey. Right outside, the entrance to the Lost City. I honestly cannot remember where this plotline goes. I do like the entrance to the Lost City. Huge tree. Covered in glowy sprouts. As before, my guardian, pray lead me to my task and ensure our safety. We are surrounded by quite a lot of little lads here, though. don't know actually whether these will go and attack him if you are not attentive. Ooh, more. No, they're just going to attack you by the look of it. This data should prove invaluable too. Yeah, ye gods, what is that stench? Did you slaughter a creep of adamantoises while my back returned? Quickly now, to Camp Tranquil. I will not have my clothing reeking of blood and offal. Well, he's a little bit snobbish, isn't he? A little bit of a stereotype of the academic, I suppose. You chose to paddle in the Ico a while longer, I take it. No matter. I took advantage of my unexpected privacy and performed a cursory analysis of my data. It would appear that there has been a measurable decrease in Eorzea's ambient ether concentration since the calamity. However, this data is far from conclusive. We must take additional measurements to confirm my assessment. For our next survey, I would have you escort me to Earth's fount. The ambient ether concentrations there are so high that crystalline structures form spontaneously. Consequently, anomalous fluctuation should be much easier to detect. Brilliant, yes. No, don't bother answering, that was rhetorical. Now, come along. Come along, pond. Right, we haven't been to Earth's fount in this playthrough because we haven't needed to. But Earth's fount is where Odin tends to come from. There's a whole story and plot line behind that, which is quite interesting. Though I can't remember many of the details quickly. There are a lot of stories in this game. People that say, you know, FF14 is a story-driven MMO are really not joking. Even the, you know, the simple fetch quests, go and kill X of Y or collect 12 of whatever. They've all got stories behind them. I was actually reading about this yesterday, and it seems that a good rule of thumb is if you look in your quest log, anything that has a picture probably has a story to go with it. Which I found quite interesting. There's lots of big pigs over here. Oh, I didn't know you could fish. No, I didn't know you could fish here. I mean, I did know you could fish. There's a giant piggy. Where we want to be going is up here, because up here is an area very much like Wraithfrost. With if Wraithfrost has got, what was it, plasmoids, so they were fire or lightning, and this has got a lot of water sprites. You should be more familiar with the procedure by now. Pray, find a suitable position from which to keep watch while I take measurements. Yes, you'll notice it didn't have the purple glow on it, so no enemies attack. Yes, quite high, yet Still markedly lower than the historical measurements taken near the end of the 6th Astral era, so that's just before the calamity. So we're talking 5-6 years ago. Could the presence of a primal account for the difference, or is there something else? Something else? Something else? Cyan! Cyan, come here! I need you! Oh shit, that's Willard. We all said he'd gone missing. Fear not, my brothers, help has arrived. There you are, Demajen. Hori and I were worried when you were in charge failed to return at the appointed hour. Yes, so we've been wondering about where Willard had got to. Gutted like a hog, but not by one, no. These wounds were made with the blade. Doesn't look like he put much of a fight up either. Nary a mark on his sword or his shield. I've heard nothing of any Crystal Brave operation in the area. What caused Willard to come here? What should we do? We will see to the Scholar's protection. We will see to the Scholar's protection, Demajen. Aye, and the boy's remains. He is to return to the Rising Stones. The antecedent will want to know what happened here. Yes, so it looks like, as do I, it looks like Willard was ambushed and assassinated, basically. He didn't have time to... He didn't put up a fight, so he must have been ambushed. The implication being that, of course, it was a friend, maybe? So yes, I suppose a bit of a coincidence, but what seemed to be a random, almost filler quest turned into something rather significant. Right, let's go and turn in this knowledge, and then we'll go back to the Arcanist Guild in a bit to see how Tataru is getting on. She's not getting on very well, from what I remember. Demajen, you returned, and you seem troubled. Did the role of escort chafe so? We found Willard's corpse. He did. Willard? Dead? Maybe murdered? But the 12, how can that be? I'll send word to Alpha now at once, who will want to conduct a full investigation, and send word to Willard's family. Gods, he was just a boy. Who'd do this, and why? Indeed. Indeed. Right, if we've got both of this this fork in the path done, then we could pick up the next quest, but we need to go and see to old Tataru first. Arcanist Guild. She's downstairs, I think. Ah, look at her. Look at her. Cute. And here are all the other Arcanists practicing with their carbuncles. Hiss. Yip, yip, yip. So they're training up their carbuncles. Demajen, what are you doing here? Let's go see how you're doing. I didn't mean to worry. It's the last thing I wanted. Putting an end to such worries is precisely the reason I'm here, don't you see? I, Taru. Yes, her surname is Taru. Shall become a great and powerful arcanist. And now, at Mrs. Thurbergrim's, oh, I don't know, behest, I must go and complete a special training exercise. Until we meet again. Thurbergrim. And again, this is one of the reasons why where's the way up? Oh, it's all the way over there. Got stuck in a place then. What was I saying? Yeah, it's one of the reasons why you shouldn't have complicatedly spelt names that people will struggle to pronounce, because it leads to situations like that. And here is Mistress Thurbergrim. Thurbergrim? Who knows? Greetings and welcome to the Arcanist Guild. Do you require assistance? Ah, so you are acquainted with our newest member. I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news, but I fear young Tataru may not be ideally suited to the study of Arcanima. Nevertheless, she would not be denied and goes now to undertake her first trial, a simulated inspection of 3 crates. A simple task, one might say, but one all Arcanists are expected to complete. Yes, actually, that is the first quest, or one of the first quests. It might be the level 5 quest that you have to do if you choose to be an Arcanist. A thought occurs to me. Why not supervise Tataru's training? You are clearly an accomplished adventurer, and given your relationship with the girl, you seem an ideal person to have on hand. A trial will be conducted at the cliffs south of the Zephyr Gates. You need only observe at a distance. But yes, in the Arcanist quest, you have to do a very similar thing, and one of the NPCs will come and watch over you, and stuff will happen. Stuff and things. Those are the crates down there. All those rats. And that's basically what you have to do as an Arcanist. Should we call you have to fight off the rats? As the seas do pirates' port, where she met her shining jewel, for to bring the smuggler's plans to naught, came the lass whom none could fool. Beat him with a backdraft, gut him with a gust, deck him with a damburst, go Carbuncle, go! Backdraft, gust and damburst are Carbuncle's abilities. Are those crates I spy? Ah, this must be the true test. But we're ready for them, aren't we, Carbuncle? Carbuncle? Carbuncle has run away. Uh-oh. Ah! Come back, Carbuncle, come back! Oh, poor Tataru. Ooh. Oh. I should have known you'd come, Demajen. You needn't say a word. Your face says it all. I know you bore witness to my shame. Betrayed by my own carbuncle and left at the mercy of wild beasts. I must accept the truth. I'll never be a warrior like you or the others. I'll inform Mistress Thubagrim of my intention to withdraw from the guild. Arcanima, like so much else, is beyond me. Oh. Poor Tataru. She's usually so chipper and upbeat. Then every now and again you get something like this which just gives her that little bit extra depth. Thubagrim. Thubagrim, Thubagrim, Thubagrim. Who knows? Ah, back so soon. How fared our fledgling arcanist? Abysmally, Mistress Thubagrim, abysmally, as Demajen will testify. I was wrong to become an arcanist, wrong as usual. I am completely and utterly unqualified, and I sincerely apologise for wasting your time. Tataru, if that were true, I would not have permitted you to join in the first place. We must all come to accept our limitations, lest our ambitions lead us astray. However, we must not lose sight of our strengths in the process. For example, your exceptional skill with numbers helped you to gain a solid grasp of the fundamentals of Arcanima. Were it not so, you would have struggled even to summon Carbuncle to your side. In my opinion, the Scions are truly fortunate to have such a capable and good-natured receptionist in their service. Would you not agree? Yes. You are too kind, Mistress Thubagrim. Though I could not overcome this challenge, I shall take your words to heart and try not to be discouraged. Tataru is considering her next course of action and how you might aid her in it. As fetching as these garments are, I fear I shall never don them again. But I can't go back to the Rising Stones without something to show for my time away. Wait, I know what I can do. That is, if you don't mind accompanying me for a little longer. There we go. Wonderful. Then to Costa del Sol we will go. It's a bit of a gamble, but I'm confident it will pay off. Oh yes. Do 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 do. Now what's she doing? Yes, this is it. This is where the man at the Drowning Witch told me to look. There's a certain variety of clam which can be harvested this time of year in Bloodshaw, one which produces the most marvellous pearls. However, these clams are also coveted by certain wild creatures, and since I fared rather poorly in battle last time, let us be off. What's whiskey got for us? Oh, that's to unlock Bravelox's long stop hard. Right, so we are going to go and help Tataru. And we can now swim over here. We didn't used to be able to do this before. Don't know how far we can go. Can we go all the way over here? Yes, we can. Some random people having a bit of a party over there. We shall not disturb them. But yes, this is for the Moon5 Fair, the new summer holiday event. And since swimming was introduced in Stormblood, they've decided to make this particular area also swimmable. It used to be that you got to here and it just blocked you going any further. What fortune! I've already found one. Would you be so kind as to keep watch while I work? This should only take a moment. So, Tataru is going to be harvesting pearls, and this looks like we're going to get attacked. Ooh. Oh wow, this guy actually is a little bit of a beast. He's got a lot of hit points. Oh no, the Kraken needs re-releasing. We've summoned the Kraken about 50 times. No, 40 times. Is he leveled up yet? No. Still way off. Well, that was quite the battle. We're not used to things taking quite that long. Well fought, well fought. I knew I was right to ask you to come. Yeah, you'd have got eaten. As for me, I have my prize, a bounty of blood pearls. So named for their reddish hue, they were treasured as wards against dark magics in ancient times. I thought I might make charms for everyone, so that no matter where they go, they will always come home. Ah, it's sort of the power to defend myself and other people, in a way. Right, well, I mustn't keep Flamine waiting. There's work to be done, and lots of it. We're to secure provisions for the scions in the LIMSALOMINSA markets. She may have an eye for quality, but I have a nose for bargains. Will you be heading back to the Rising Stones? If so, please convey my apologies to the antecedent and tell her she needn't worry about me. Farewell, Demajen, and thank you for everything. That sounded rather final, didn't it? How about until we meet again? Yes, that was a little bit... Huh. It's a bit of a weird look. We are closing in on the end of the patch. I seem to recall the final couple of quests have got some quite long cutscenes in them. Welcome home. I gather you found Tataru in LIMSALOMINSA? Yes, she was failing being an Arcanist, and then she went pearling. My, sounds as though she had quite an adventure. and while it did not end as she'd hoped, I suspect that it will prove to be a valuable experience. I dare say she could have managed without our intervention. Even so, I appreciate you indulging my request. Right, 4 quests left. While others look forward to the impending royal banquet, Minfilia cannot help but look to the past. Though recent events weigh heavily on our minds, we must needs set them aside for now. We come to a defining moment in Eorzean history. The grand commemoration of our joint defence of Ishgard, the first time in 15 long years that our people have stood side by side with our neighbours to the north to fight in common cause. This may mark the true rebirth of the Eorzean alliance. Failing that, it should at least, at the very least, serve to bring our nations closer together. We have every reason to raise our voices in celebration, do we not? We've bested Dravanians and Ascians both. Against desperate odds, we've fought and won. But the Primal still plague us, and the Empire still plots our subjugation, and our triumphs, remarkable though they are, were bought at a terrible price. Brave adventurers and allies, broken on the steps of faith, and before our eyes in this very room our dear friend Moonbreeder. And Noraxia! This is the victory we've wrought, and it is as bitter ashes in my mouth. I would sooner stay here and invite those with more appetite to enjoy the feast in my stead. Alas, it is a royal banquet and all our allies will be in attendance. It is our duty to present a united front that we might serve as a beacon of hope to all. It seems I have no choice but to take my own advice. I instructed the others to meet us in UL'DAH that we might make our grand entrance together. Unfortunately, I had to settle for leaving to Taro and Lamine a note. If they do not return quickly, they will have to settle for whatever leftovers I can smuggle out of the fragrant chamber. Ooh, real. Off to the big soiree, Demajen. Raise a glass for me, eh? Or not. You don't look best pleased, lass. Something on your mind? Yeah, we found Wilward. By the Navigator, Wilward's dead? Gods damn it. They must know they've been rumbled. I mean, solid. It is past time we had this talk. After our last conversation, I got to thinking about where certain funds were coming from, so I had a dig around on the quiet like, and sure enough, I found it. Seems a fair bit of coins made its way into the Brave's coffers courtesy of a Dodo consortium. A daft name for a business if ever I heard one, which is what first gave me an inkling that something weren't right. So I went through the ledgers again, and found another half-dozen donations from organisations with stupid bloody names. Didn't take long to find the common thread. All are owned by the Mirage Trust. Oh, I'll give the bastard credit. He showed us for the bloody amateurs we are. Short of calling one of his businesses the bloody bribery consortium, I don't know what more he could have done to mock our rules on financial contributions. Gods only know how many men on the first and third are taking to Ledger's coin. But now we know who some of them are, I'd wager me right either they're the ones what did for Wilward. So, shock horror, surprise surprise, the Teleji Adeleji, I got his name right, has been quote unquote contributing to the Crystal Braves, and it sounds very much like something, or some people in the first and third have been taking bribes. And his young fool's taken to asking the wrong kind of questions. This is Wilward he's talking about. Bound to attract attention he was. Should have seen it at the time, but I didn't, God damn me. Still, I don't see what Demajen hopes to accomplish. He'd a scheme with all the care of a drunk pissing into the wind. Now, he's cleverer than this, so we need to be cleverer too. That's the only way we'll ever repay this debt of blood. We'll purge every one of them traitorous bastards from our ranks. On that you have me word. And, Demajen, mind yourself when you're in UL'DAH, okay? We're heading into a storm. I can smell it. Yeah, the kind that'll sweep a man overboard and drag him under before he knows it. Foreshadowing. Yeah. Okay, so here we go. We are heading into troubled times. If I did not know better, I should think our bard had run afoul of another jilted lover. Is that? No, just my imagination. Oh, pay no attention to me. It is a habit from my misspent youth looking over my shoulder from time to time. It's a banquet, so there'll definitely be food. But will there also be dancing? And if there is, will it be before or after the food? Dancing on a full stomach is no fun, but neither is being hungry. What to do? Thanks, Ida. I do hope Ida is not under the impression that we are all here to make merry. We are ostensibly the antecedent's escort, after all. We've been waiting for you, Demajen. The celebration is due to begin shortly. I'd hoped that we might make our introductions together, but Mistress Miradi just sent word that you needed the quicksand. Yes. We will go on ahead. Pray, join us once matters at the quicksand are resolved. Yes, this is, give my regards to Mamodi, and let her know that I will call upon her anon. He's always flirting with her. I'm actually quite excited to watch these quest lines, these cutscenes again, because I haven't seen them in 2+ years. And I'm sure there were a lot of details in them that I've forgotten. I appreciate you dropping in on short notice, Demajen. I know you've got places to be, so I won't waste your time. You're friends with a crystal brave by the name of Alian, aren't you? Former adventurer? Come to think of it, I'm pretty sure you recruited her yourself. Yes, we did. Well, anyway, she came round for a meal not long ago, and before she left, she asked me to give you a message. Said if the others ended up dragging you to the feast, I was to see you got it before you made your grand entrance. Meet me at the station west of the Coffin Coffin. There's something I must show you. A short message, I'll grant you, but she thought long and hard before picking those words. Barely touched her food too. Under other circumstances, I'd have thought those signs of a troubled heart, but something tells me that she ain't planning to ask your thoughts in a gentleman caller. Yes, Alian knows that something is up. And we're now going to go and find out what. As I've made frequent mention of, I'm not one for kind of political storylines as a general rule, but this is not just political, but there's intrigue as well. and we like that kind of thing. Here's our destination. We actually haven't been up to this end of the train tracks before. Does that actually go anywhere? No, it just cuts off. So we shall wait around. Oh, what's that on the floor? As you stand up on the platform, your thoughts begin to wander, and all too soon the ghosts of comrades lost and enemies slain begin to file by your mind's eye in solemn procession. Clearing your head, you scan the horizon but see no sign of Alien. That's an interesting line, especially in regards to certain things that happen in the Dark Knight storyline later, which obviously I leveled as a Dark Knight for Heaven's Ward and beyond. The ghosts of comrades lost and enemies slain. The idea that the Warrior of Light, because we are such a stoic, nodding our head, not really, we don't get any insight into ourself. Everything is said for us, I suppose. But the idea that the Warrior of Light actually has thoughts and guilt is quite interesting. We shall continue waiting. Straining your ears to listen, you hear the chatter of Kikrin and the buzzing of sylphids, but no approaching footfall. Sighing, you bow your head, only to notice notice the vial lying at your feet. Huh. Demajen, is that you? What brings you out this way? Oh, it's Laurentius, the guy that we that betrayed us to the Empire way back in the 20s, turning over a new leaf. I came here looking for Alien, but she's not here. Lieutenant Alien? Why no, I haven't seen her about. Had she come this way, I guarantee we'd have crossed past. I must have passed this spot a dozen times. We're to patrol the city's environments and account of the royal banquet. Captain's orders, you understand. Speaking of which, isn't it about to begin? You should be with the other honoured guest, enjoying your well-deserved respite. Aye, go on, pray return to UL'DAH. If I chance to meet the lieutenant, I'll tell her you were here. Is he in on it? Oh, here we go. This is Nanamo ready to make her big announcement, I think. I love the fact that she's got a Moogle and a choker on the bed.
Hallowed spirit of my line. Through my weakness, the glorious house of UL has all but disappeared beneath the sands. For want of the strength to raise it up again, it were better that it fall. Forgive me, but I know not what else to do.
She's really desperate to try and help the people, but she just can't do that in the political climate that UL'DAH has. And the only way she can change that is through really, really changing it. Let's go and speak to Laurentius while we're here, see if he's got anything else to say. Gods, I envy you. All that food and wine, but I cannot think of a woman more deserving. Enjoy the feast, you've earned it. I don't know whether he's part of this or not. Because his whole reason for joining the Crystal Braves was that he was desperate to turn over a new leaf after selling us all out to the Empire, so... Man, the more I play as this ARR, the less and less I like it. I might actually end up Fantasia using Fantasia for the first expansion. There's just something about the face that I really don't like. Let's turn that on and see if it helps. I reckon you'd head straight to the feast after meeting with Alien. What's the matter? No appetite? This tiny glass container appears to have been used before, but to contain what, pray tell? So she wasn't there, but this was, eh? Let's see. Looks to me like an alchemist file, but beyond that I can't say. Might be best if you hold on to it for safekeeping, though. Anyway, no use worrying about Alien. I'm sure she'll turn up before too long, and when she does, we'll soon find out what this was all in aid of. Besides, you've got more important things to think about. Judging by Bermuda's green, your star could not rise any higher. Would you believe that while you were away? Another messenger, I fear. Well, one did. One delivered by the Sultana's handmaiden, no less. Seems Her Grace desires a private audience. Her handmaiden will meet you on the royal promenade and escort you to the Sultan's chambers. So, what are you waiting for? Go on then, go. Oh, yeah, I remember what happens next.
You needn't trouble yourself so.
Your Grace is most kind, but it is no trouble to me, rather an honor. If your Grace is ready, I shall summon the Warrior of Light.
I am.
That's Lolorito there. Some big bottles of wine in the background. Emmerich, Lucia, Raban, Merlub, Canicena. Everybody's here. Alfino, sadly.
Everyone looks to be in high spirits.
With good cause.
Mm-hmm.
A common victory may serve to unite even the most unlikely of allies. You've brought us one step closer to a united Eorzea.
Your modesty knows no bounds, Antecedent. Were it not for your efforts, Sir Emmerich would never have become such a steadfast ally. When he convinces his countrymen to rejoin the Alliance, we shall all reap the benefits, military and economic. I tell you, we are on the cusp of a new era of unity and prosperity.
Yeah. Pride cometh before fall, Alfino.
Territorial disputes are all that divide us now. But I have faith that we will find an amicable solution in time. And failing that, I'll have my trusty Warrior of Light box the ears of all concerned. Speaking of whom...
She will be joining us shortly. A matter at the quicksand required her attention, but it did not sound serious.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, stuff is about to go down. And when I say down, I really do mean down. I seem to recall this is where we get the warning about long cutscene incoming. Perhaps I'm wrong. Yes, I shall be watching these with vested interest. Oops. Thank you for coming, madam. Her Grace is most eager to speak with you. If you require a moment to compose yourself before your audience, you may have it, or if you are ready, it would be my honour to escort you to Her Grace's chambers. Yes, so, upon proceeding to Her Sultana's bedchamber, several cutscenes will play in sequence. It is recommended that you set aside sufficient time to view these scenes in their entirety. In other words, we're going to go hit you with some story. So, before we do that... Okay, drink poured. Let us proceed.
Enter.
So she's
Your
psyching
Grace.
herself up.
Your guest has arrived.
Pray, come in, and take your ease.
"'Tis well that the steps of faith held against the Horde.
And what of the city proper?
We sustained some few losses, but the heart of our nation yet beats with vigor. I am not certain I could say the same had we not received your most generous aid.
An attack on Ishgard is an attack on the realm. We stand together or fall divided.
Such noble words after the fact.
Alpha now has excellent hearing.
I had hoped to speak in the presence of Her Grace, but it seems she has been delayed. That being the case, now would seem as good a time as any. Honored friends, pray allow me to convey Ishgard's warmest gratitude for your part in the defense of our lands. 'Tis upon the success of this very alliance that my recommendation to throw open the gates of judgment shall be founded. With the blessing of the Archbishop, it is my hope that Ishgard will soon be reunited with her long-estranged sister nations, and that Eorzea shall once more be as one.
Ooh. About time.
Very well.
Is aught amiss?
Something's up.
Nothing to worry about. I shall return anon.
Aim in failure.
You wished a word, UL'DAH?
Oh, I have been pronouncing his name right. Cinematic storytelling.
You may go.
Your Grace.
taking the bottle of wine with her?
You must be curious as to the reason for this private audience. The matter I would discuss, however, will soon make apparent the need for discretion. I intend to abdicate the throne and dissolve the monarchy.
We knew this already.
You have seen for yourself the storm of turmoil that howls through our streets. The government fails in its responsibilities, and my subjects suffer the consequences of our incompetence. But I will see them suffer no longer. The victory feast shall provide the stage on which I declare the dissolution of the Sultanate. 'Tis mine intent that the ruling class of our golden city should take its place beside the common man in a fair and equitable republic. No more shall this nation bow to the whims of a privileged few.
A noble goal.
Yet, that which I propose will entail the tearing up of this city's very foundations. And even Roban, with all his strength and influence, will be hard-pressed to keep his footing on such treacherous ground. Thus would I ask you to lend him a steadying hand. You who have endured the wrath of innumerable foes are the one hero in whom I can place my trust. Will you do this thing for me?
Of course. Nod. Slight smile. Nod.
I am truly grateful. More grateful than I can well express. How much we have both changed since that day we met beneath the Sultan tree. And the days ahead promise to change us further still. I hope that we will recognize ourselves when all of this is over.
I'm assuming you only get this line of dialogue if you come from UL'DAH. Because you don't meet under the Sultan. You don't meet her under the Sultan tree otherwise. If you start in LIMSA or Gridania, you don't do that whole looking for the Sultana thing for your level 5 or level 6 quest or whatever it is. There's a lot of focus on the goblet. I suppose it is in the logo. Wait, what? What? Uh-oh. Oh, shit. Oh,
oh. Your Grace! Her Grace, the Sultana, is dead. Poison in her wine? You did this!
Spare us your denials! I see no other suspects, and the room has but the one entrance. I hereby accuse you of regicide. Men, arrest this viper.
really? You want to tussle with us?
Sir, barring a few exceptions, we have detained all those with allegiance to the Scions. The Rising Stones is also under our control.
Oh shit. He's always been out for profit. For coin, he's constantly been going on about it.
And what do you hope to achieve with this mutiny?
Why, that which we have striven for all along, Commander. The salvation of Eorzea.
Really? So let's keep track. Sultana dead. Crystal Braves mutinying. Can it get any worse?
What is the meaning of this?
Knights from the homeland. This cannot bode well.
Lord Commander, we have received an urgent message from the Holy See. I am grieved to report that your serpentine foes have resumed their assault. Needless to say, your presence is urgently required. These knights have come to bear you swiftly home to Ishgard.
A surprise attack?
We've had no such word from our men, and the timing is most fortuitous to catch us away from the city.
Mm-hmm.
Most fortuitous indeed.
Lord Commander, we must away.
You have been a most gracious host. I hope that I might one day return the favor.
Yes.
Come, Lucia.
So get the Ishgardians out of the way while stuff happens. Huh. Smug little git. You'll notice that he hasn't announced the death of the Sultana to anybody. Oh, what's Thancred doing? Chatting up the ladies.
Whatever is going on in there?
Uh-oh.
Ah, the ever-dutiful brass blades. I must apologize, but my dance card is rather full. Another time, perhaps?
Thancred, of the Scions of the Seventh Dawn. You stand accused of committing acts of espionage in service to the Garlean Empire.
That's somewhat...
Espionage? What in the seven hells are you talking about? Ah, if you're referring to that business with the Ultima weapon, then you must understand, I wasn't myself.
Under interrogation, an Imperial prisoner revealed your involvement in numerous dealings with the enemy. We've also been investigating reports that you are a practitioner of forbidden arts.
Oh, really?
You'd best come along with us.
Really?
You invite me to your party and now you want me to leave. I do so detest receiving mixed signals. Come then. I believe I've lost my appetite for this farce of a celebration.
Yeah, Brass Blades ain't gonna win that. So all the guests are being shut out. Raban knows something's
You go
up.
too far, Lord Adeleji. By what right do you march armed soldiers into a royal banquet and eject state visitors without her grace's consent? You treat the Brass Blades as your personal army and show contempt for the throne with your every act. Leave us. Now.
Is that an order, General? Mayhap you have mistaken me for one of your flames. You will find I am not so slavishly obedient. And you lecture me on personal armies. As for your outrageous claim that I have shown contempt for the throne, let all here observe that it was not I who feasted while an assassin removed its occupant.
Wait, what?
I expect this is your idea of defending the nation, is it? This and diluting our forces through these distractions in Cartano and Kurthis. I do begin to see how the ranks of the Immortal Flames came to be riddled with Garlean sympathizers. You are plainly unfit for command.
Wait, goddamn you. Your words make no sense. What assassin?
You mean to say you don't know? We caught the vaunted champion of the Scions in her Grace's private chambers, not moments after the deed was done.
No! No, this cannot be!
Save your breath. You will need it to plead your case. You and your entire order are to be tried for this atrocity.
Yeah, good luck with that.
Bring in the prisoner!
This woman stands accused of poisoning Her Royal Majesty Nanamu Ul'Namo and his suspected accessories to the crime. All members of the Scions of the Seventh Dawn will be detained for questioning.
This is madness!
Yeah, what possible reason do we actually have?
What a pity. Who'd have thought your tale would end like this?
Should you demand further proof, a vial with traces of the substance used to poison her grace was found upon the assassin's person.
Yes.
How very convenient.
You would speak of convenience? Who persuaded her grace to host this celebration? A diversion which presented you and your confederates ample opportunity to commit the crime, and a crowd within which to fade from view. A more convenient occasion I could scarcely imagine.
Yes, convenient for you.
How dare you! After all we have done for UL'DAH!
Hold your tongue, witch! I'll not be ensorcelled. I know all about the dark gift that you and your disciples wield. Oh, yes. I've observed how you worked upon the minds of the Alliance leaders, bending them to your will. And what of your cordial relationship with Sir Emmerich? For years, Ishgard abjured all contact with the outside world, and now the Lord Commander of the Temple Knights treats you with the familiarity of a childhood friend. I'll tell you what I think. I think this desperate defense of Ishgard was but a ruse to deceive us into dividing our forces.
Oh, I hope you get burnt by a dragon, Teleji.
Your next move will be to charm your Kurthan allies into invading our lands. Now that is truly ridiculous.
How do you even think of this stuff?
She cannot be dead. Stand aside, Ilbert. I want to see the Sultana.
Spare yourself the pain, brother. I saw her with my own eyes. For a mercy, the poison took her swiftly. Her handmaiden can attest to that.
The handmaiden who, of course, had the wine bottle.
This cannot be. Nanamu. No!
Plainly, the Royalists can no longer be relied upon to keep our nation safe. And so it falls to the monitorists of the Syndicate to govern UL'DAH. But should you wish to help us, General, we would be more than happy to entrust the task of planning Her Grace's funeral to you.
Yes, so he's got rid of the side that he can't control.
You should bury your precious Sultana, and we will be glad to be rid of that burden.
I'll bet you will. You more than any man.
Whatever do you mean?
I mean you had her killed, you black-hearted bastard!
What rot! Though I did have sufficient motive, 'tis true. That young lady caused me no end of grief. She always was a most unwilling puppet. I dare say Her Grace was grateful that someone thought to cut her strings.
You would mock her, then mock her from hell!
What?
Whoa.
Have you lost your mind, General? It is forbidden to draw steel in the royal chambers, much less slaughter our fellow Syndicate members. You're one of them. You've been in league with the Scions all along.
You're next, you scheming bastard!
Oh dear.
Oh, Raban!
7 hells!
Admiral, we must leave.
Ah!
Vote.
How unlike you, old friend. I did not expect to take your arm so easily.
Take the Scions into custody. They have conspired to commit regicide. And arrest this traitor as well.
Ilbert, I hope you choke on their coin.
'Tis better than the dirt I've supped on these long years. We can't all abandon Alamigo and become great war heroes as you have.
Which pretty much confirms that Ilbert is a traitor.
You are not the man you once were, Raban. Since that girl strapped the yoke around your neck, you've become docile. She took the mad bull and cut off his balls, and a bull that cannot rot is fit for naught but slaughter. Shall I tell you who really killed your precious Sultana? It was me.
You die!
Woohoo! Cheers.
I never doubted you, not for a moment. But there is more to this than I yet understand. Flee this place. Clear your names. Find out who is behind this plot. It is the only way. Now go!
Yeah, let's get the hell out of here. UL'DAH just killed all his old men. There is indeed more to this plot. Quite a lot more, actually, as it happens.
Ah, there you are.
Thancred, where have you been?
Avoiding the fumbling advances of some very persistent admirers. When I realized the celebrations had turned sour, it seemed prudent to slip away and take stock of the situation. 'Twould appear that much of the city is already under tight guard. It occurs to me that expanding the Brass Blade's authority may not have been such a wonderful idea after all.
The success of this plan was contingent upon those thugs having the run of the place. Just how long has this scheme been in motion?
A couple of patches.
The careful preparations, the maneuvering of forces. I am inclined to agree with the General's insistence that a deeper plot exists here.
So, would I be right in thinking we now have an excuse to pummel as many brass blades as we like?
Yes, Ida, yes you do.
Unless you plan on pummeling them all, I'm not sure that will greatly aid our cause.
But still.
The Sultana's assassination was but one part of the scheme. We too were its targets. And though we did not share Pornonimo's fate, we are yet hobbled by the charges laid at our door. Where now might we seek refuge?
Where indeed, we may safely assume that our foe is thought to have the Rising Stones watched.
Forgive me for stating the obvious, but our choice of destination will matter little if we cannot secure an escape route out of UL'DAH. Happily, I believe I can provide one. Papashan once told me about the passages hidden in the walls of the palace. If I recall correctly, the fireplace in Animo's chambers conceals the entrance to a tunnel.
Ah, so there is another way into her chambers.
It should lead outside the city and allow us to avoid any messy confrontations.
We just got to get there. Just got to get there.
The rest of you, go on ahead. I'll handle this lot.
By yourself? I suppose I shall just have to join you.
Crystal Braves too, huh? Now this should be interesting.
Ida! Papalimo!
Go. Flee, you fools.
We will hold our pursuers here. Hurry, now. Find this tunnel of Thancred's.
Heroic stand. Of course, they can always go around the other way, because it is round, but whatever.
Minfilia, we cannot linger.
Ooh, darkened corridor. Lolarito in the dark. And the lady in waiting. Ooh, what does that entail?
Now look what you've done.
My mask. Ooh.
Ida, are you all right? There are just too many of them.
I'm fine. I could do this all day. How about you?
Nearing the end of my tether.
Oh dear.
This is so stupid. We're the scions of the Seventh Dawn. The ones who stand between this realm and the evil that's trying to destroy it.
And if you think we'll leave the stewardship of Eorzea to the likes of your masters, then you're sorely mistaken.
Sorry I dragged you into this, Papalymo.
'Tis hardly the first time, and I'll be damned if it will be the last. Let them have it, Ida!
I was hoping you'd say that.
Jeez. Fade to black.
I never knew such a watercourse existed beneath UL'DAH.
The architecture is of the Sildine style, if I'm not mistaken. The ancients plainly foresaw the need for a ready means of escape.
Twitchy cat ears to the rescue.
This way!
Well, that didn't take long. It seems these tunnels were not as secret as I'd hoped.
You two, go on ahead. Thancred and I will deal with this.
What do you mean to do?
Stuff. Stuff and things.
Only that which is required to ensure that the dawn's light survive to brighten the morrow.
Fear not, antecedent. You haven't seen the last of these fair features.
That is true.
My friends.
Stop standing
Leave
around.
us.
Shift your ass.
What is the plan, milady? Shall I take the dozen on the left and you the dozen on the right? The odds are not exactly stacked in our favor.
Numbers will count for little when I bring the tunnel down upon their heads. Though I cannot say I relish the thought of being entombed with you for all eternity.
You wound me. I will have you know that many a maid would kill for the chance to spend forever at my side. Now, may I have the last dance?
Ooh. Oh, an arrow to the knee.
Well, this is going splendidly. Now would be a good time, milady.
'Tis done. Forgive me, Mitra.
Mitra is her sister. I pointed that out in a previous episode, but we've not seen her in the main story.
Farewell, Minfilia.
Hydaelyn, she speaks to me. No. I must remain behind, but you cannot stay with me.
What? Why?
Please, you must go on. You are the warrior of light. You are hope for the Scions and for all the realm. As long as your flame continues to burn, the light of the dawn may ever be relit. You must escape and save Eorzea from those who would plunge it into darkness. Tis the only way.
But wait, what? What? This bit didn't make sense to me the first time I played it, and it doesn't make a huge amount of sense to me now either. I can't remember why Minfilia has to stay behind. If you remember, this is way back at the start. We should be surrounded by level 7 Spriggans. Oh, hey. Alphino. Is that Alphino or is that Alize? I think that's Alize, actually.
I am glad to see you safe, my friend. What of the others?
I think this
Damn
is
that man!
I think this is the only time we actually see him with the hood up on this.
Teleji played me for a fool. I thought the Crystal Brave's mine till the very moment I felt the blade at my back.
There will be ample time for soul-searching later. For now, we must put some arms between us and UL'DAH.
Oh, God, it's that guy.
Well, would you look who it is? Need a ride? I doubt it'll be half as exciting as the last trip we took. Not if I have anything to say about it anyway. Let's not dawdle, eh? All aboard!
You'll find out who the delightful Munchkin is in a bit. Do do. Yes, so some big meaty cutscenes.
I was stocking up on supplies over in Vesper Bay, you see, when your sister come up and begged a favour. Said her brother was having some trouble down in UL'DAH and likely needed a helping hand getting away.
Where's Alizé in Vesper Bay?
Thinking them ruins would make a fine hiding place, I decided to try there first. And lo and behold, there you were. Aye, and judging by them soldiers as were pouring out of the city, I arrived not a moment too soon. Ha! Must have been fate that we happened to find you there, though, eh?
I had thought to look out for Alizé, but would appear she was the one watching over me. I've made such a mess of things.
Yes, this is the comeuppance moment that I talked about way back when I said that Alphinaud was an arrogant little git. This is finally when he realises that he's not as amazing as what he clearly thinks he is.
And who might you be, young sir?
Oh, this is Pippin. And he's got some fabulous hair.
Pippin Taropin, Vice Marshal of the Immortal Flames. I had been on the Alamegan front these past few moons, but an urgent communication called me back to UL'DAH. Scarce had my boots touched the cobbles, though, when the streets erupted with cries of assassination. I immediately went in search of answers, and came across Master Alphinaud here. Needless to say, I did not think his imprisonment justified. The blame plainly lies with the Monitarists. Their greed and corruption are well known to me, but for them to take advantage of the situation with such alacrity...
Indeed. It's almost
Was
like
that Pippin, you said? Ain't that the name of General Alden's lad?
Yep.
Yes, I am his son. Adopted, of course. 'Twas only as we were leaving UL'DAH that I learned of father's fate. Once I have seen you a safe distance away, I mean to return to the city and extricate him from this madness.
Then you needn't travel no further than Blackbrush. Our fugitives have a friend waiting for them there.
Okay.
I dreamed of bringing about Eorzea's salvation, but in the end...
Yeah, Alphinaud's going to be a whiny little git for a while. He's gone from an arrogant git to a whiny
it was
git.
I who needed saving.
I suppose that's character development. Them soldiers will keep searching for a while yet. Reckon we'll take the carriage back towards UL'DAH and get the lay of the land. Maybe provide a distraction if need be. You three wait here. Help will be along shortly. Stay strong, friends. The real fight's to come. Not entirely sure why they couldn't voice out this bit as well, but whatever. Alright, let's go. Right, 2 seconds. Right. The most unassuming folk proved to be our greatest allies. That fellow was but a passing merchant, yet he lent us aid without a moment's hesitation, or any hint of concern for his own safety. Though I can well imagine how a man could feel inspired to risk all in your presence. Father spoke often of you, and long have I looked forward to our first meeting. Needless to say, this is not at all how I envisioned it. Master Alphino, you must not give in to despair. That would only play into our enemy's hands. So long as you and Demajen are free, we may still set things right. Forgive me, Marshal Tarapin, but I... Alphino, my boy. Sorry to keep you waiting. Hey, Sid. Sid, what are you doing here? Pulling you out of the fire as usual. Your merchant friend told me everything. Truly, and he is no merchant but an angel in peddler's clothing. But tell us, how do you intend to bear our friends to safety? I hid the Enterprise but a short distance away. Well, I need a destination. We must find a place beyond the reach of both the Monetarists and the Crystal Braves. Kurthus. Ishgard will not suffer the intrusion of foreign forces in their territory. That settles it with me, everyone. Not I fear. I must remain here. I dare not abandon UL'DAH to the Monetarists and their cronies. You may be certain they will seek to defame you, both here and in the other city-states. But know that I shall do my utmost to thwart their every effort. Frankly, I do not expect it to be much of a challenge. The small folk will not turn so easily on the Warrior of Light and her allies, no matter what the Monetarists claim. Marshal Tarapin, I know not what to say. Ha! Now that father would labour to believe. But enough talk. You must go, Master Alphino. Your airship awaits. So, UL'DAH's SHROUD. Everybody else will be denying us shelter because we're basically accused of assassinations. Up, up, there's no rest for the righteous. Ain't that the truth? And off we go to Ishgard. Not quite the heroic ending to the game that people expected. You know, at the end of 2.0 you had the big rousing Ultima fights, etc, etc, etc. Felt like a real hero, and now our allies are apparently dead. The Sultana is dead. Everything's screwed. Thanks, Sid. All in all, we should make for Camp Dragonhead and speak with Lord Horshaphon. Mayhap he will know what to do. Alphino is not in a good state. And they've managed to learn how to teleport us to different places in cutscenes, which is nice. Blizzards. I suppose that's only appropriate. Hey, Horshaphon, we've got some issues here. Master Alphino told me your tale, Demajen. It warms my heart that you should turn to me before all others, and I shall endeavour to deserve your trust. Alas, the situation here has grown more complicated in your absence. It would be best if I explained in full. So if you remember, Emmerich got pulled away from that banquet because of things happening. In times of trouble, there are few things more precious than unconditional report. We get a nice chunk of gil for this as well.
There has been word from the capital. Ishgard has weathered another assault, and 'tis said several wyverns broke through into the city proper. The temple knights succeeded in slaying the beasts, but the intrusion prompted orders to further strengthen the guard, and to place the city under a perpetual state of alert. How keenly we feel the loss of our wards at the gates of judgment. Yet we must not bemoan our misfortune. Sir Emmerich is safely returned from UL'DAH, and once more leads the defense of Ishgard. As for the matter of your asylum, I am afraid no progress will be made until the threat to our nation is diminished. But do not despair. You are not without allies. You are more than welcome to shelter here for as long as you wish. Pray, think of it as a new headquarters of sorts. The falling snows, or some such. All frivolity aside, any who come here in search of you will receive no aid from House Forton. For once, the Ishgardian reputation for inhospitality shall work in our favor. Agents of UL'DAH will find their every inquiry dismissed, and their every request for entry rebuffed, until such time as their masters have acknowledged your innocence. You once fought to preserve the honor of my dear friend. 'Tis a blessing that I may now repay that debt in kind.
I wonder if this was planned right from the start. I have to assume it would be. I know that in various interviews, Yoshi-P has said that he's got quite a long roadmap. I know they began working on Stormblood before, I think, 3.0 Heavensward was released. Not much before, but they got it plotted out. So I imagine they know where the story's going for a good 2-3 expansions yet.
But let us dwell no more on this. Pray, join the rest of your companions. 'Tis bitterly cold this day. I suspect there are those who might welcome the warmth your presence brings.
There's a half-naked guy in the background there. Greetings, madam. Shall I show you inside? Upon proceeding to the intercessory, several more cutscenes will play in sequence. Here we go then. So this is the end of 2.55. This is the end of 2.x. In fact, this will take us to the very final story beats before the expansion. Hey, Tato! Alphino? Demajen? Is it really you? Oh, I'm so happy that you're... I tried contacting Minfilia and the others, but no one would respond. And then Crystal Braves, our own people, turned on us in the marketplace. Fleming told me to run, and so I did. I ran until my lungs burned and my feet ached, but I lost my way, and then... Lady Ugiri. Fortunately, I had observed some of the Braves behaving suspiciously beforehand. Oh, this is our first glimpse at Ugiri without a hood on. Huh? Oh yes, my mask. It was lost in the struggle. Pretty, isn't she? Anyway, after Yagiri found me, we travelled to Vesper Bay and met up with UL'DAH. When we told him what had happened, he used his magics to weave a glamour around the Waking Sands. From the outside, our old headquarters now looks like an abandoned storehouse. The old headquarters always looked like an abandoned storehouse. The transformation didn't take long either. Apparently, UL'DAH started making preparations after the Imperial attack, just in case the Empire ever chose to pay us another visit. Good thinking, eh? Sorry, where was I? Oh yes, we waited there at the Waking Sands hoping others would come, but no one else did. My people are searching for the other signs even as we speak, but we have met with no success as yet. I'd hoped that you might be able to suggest further places to look. But you should know the Rising Stones did not share the Waking Sands' good fortune. Only Crystal Braves await you there. Be that as it may, we have yet cause to hope, do we not? If the two of you escaped, it is not impossible that the others could have done so as well. You may have been forsaken by men and women who believe true, but rest assured that the people of Doma yet stand with you. We welcome this opportunity to repay our debts, and shall continue our efforts to locate the others and see the signs restored to their rightful place of honour. Tis a shame.
'Tis all my doing.
'Tis a shame, really, that the ARR females are a little bit meh to look at.
I believed myself the only one who truly understood Eorzea's woes. And look what that arrogance has wrought.
I've been saying this for a while.
I gave commands, influenced governments with my certainty. I treated the Crystal Braves and even the Scions themselves as pawns in my great scheme to save the realm. But in my headlong rush into imagined glory, I paid no heed to the ground upon which I trod. The salvation of Eorzea. What was it that I hoped to achieve? Did I believe that I could rid the realm of every danger and difficulty? That I could defeat the Empire and the Ascians, and find homes for every refugee?
It's a nice dream, though.
Oh, yes. I was so very clever. Become a guardian of Eorzea, I implored, and sat back to watch my perfect army cleanse the land of chaos, which was all but a means to feed my own vanity. Only when all is lost do I finally realize the truth.
Oh, Alphinaud.
So, Master Alphinaud, are you content to remain a broken blade? Is there no flame hot enough to reforge you? What of the fine companions who yet stand at your side? I dare say the fires of their determination will soon have you slicing the air again with your customary wit.
I hardly deserve such friendship. And besides, where are we to go?
Alphinaud, if I may?
I really like the piece of music that plays in the background over this as well. It's subtle.
Should this place not serve our purpose, then we shall go to Ishgard. Minfilia told me many times, as long as we stand fast against despair, the beacon of hope will never be lost to sight. Be it in the snow or in the clouds, we few will see that the dawn's light shines again.
You are right, Tataru. Thank you. And thank you for your kind words, Lord Orchefon. 'Tis true that Eorzea yet has her guardians. The Scions have achieved much, and 'twould be remiss of me to discard it all in a fit of self-pity. Let us then resume our journey, together, one step at a time.
And there we go. That was Final Fantasy XIV: A Realm Reborn 2.x. So we got the big heroic jaunt from 1 to 50, where we went from a lowly adventurer to being a chosen of Hydaelyn with the power of the Echo, to defeating primals and getting crystals of light and becoming the warrior of light, and then breaking into the Imperial headquarters and defeating Ultima Weapon. So we had all of that, which very much built us up to be some kind of almost invincible hero, really, with our somewhat invincible allies at our side. And then we had 2.x, 2.1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 5.5, which in some ways broke down a lot of what we had achieved, and we ended up with this very sad, realistically, ending, where we are abandoned, where our allies are mostly gone. All of the people that we've had with us throughout this entire journey, Minfilia, Thancred, Y'shtola, Ida, Papalymo, Raban, the Sultana, all gone. The only one, Minfilia really is the only one that we don't actually know what has happened to her. She turned back, but we don't know what's happened to her. We can reasonably safely conclude that Thancred and Y'shtola collapsed a tunnel on themselves, so they are not like to have made it out. Moonbreeder, obviously, dead, sadly. Papalymo and Ida faced off against a massive horde of people and blew up a chunk of the Royal Promenade. Could they have escaped? Yeah. Looking at this from the standpoint of not knowing what happens next, you know, going into it right back in whatever month it was that Heavensward was released, June or whatever, things look grim. I mean, you don't know what has happened to these people. You know, Nanamo, dead. Don't know whether I want to kind of spoil things here, but there's a lot of intrigue, there's a lot of setup. We've had that stuff there with the Archbishop with the Ascians on his shoulder. A lot of time has been spent, I think, planning out the long haul here, the long plot. And for somebody who loves story, that is very much appreciated. I like Final Fantasy XIV for a lot of reasons. Its slower pace of combat is one. Its dungeon design is another. But yeah, where I truly enjoy it for is its story. And whilst I will admit that some of its story is a little bit cliche and adheres to many of the tropes of fantasy, and there's a lot of fan service in places, it nevertheless has more story and a more decently written story than others. And I played World of Warcraft Legion at the start of this year when that came out, and was it this year? Yeah, it was this year, wasn't it? And I really enjoyed it. But in terms of storytelling, whilst there were some nice story beats, the death of Visera being probably the main one, almost nothing in World of Warcraft holds the candle to you know, the overall length and quality of Final Fantasy XIV storytelling. You know, there were some nice big moments in Legion, like the death of Varian, for example. But all of those play out in kind of short cinematics, and then in between that, there's not a whole lot of anything. Whereas for the most part, Final Fantasy XIV gives you story constantly. A lot of it's voice acted. I do wish more of it was voice acted. But I've spoken on several occasions now about why I know they can't do that. It's because it would cost a fortune. It's the same with the silent protagonist thing. I mean, you can tell a decent story with a silent protagonist. Legend of Zelda's done it for years and years and years. And in an MMO space, where, you know, in all the other Final Fantasies, you've got your main character. He is an individual. He's got a distinct look. He or she has got a distinct look, a distinct personality, a distinct reason to be there in the plot. Okay, you look at Varn in Final Fantasy XII and you think he's probably the least interesting of all of the characters that you have in your party. But he's pretty much the exception rather than the rule. In FF10, Tidus, apart from his really irritating laugh scene, he is a nice, relatable hero. FF9, you had Vivi, who technically wasn't your main character, but he may as well have been. And Zidane, and even then Zidane was an entertaining character. 8, you had Squall. I mean, a lot of people hate on FF8 because they dislike its systems. I actually, it is up there with one of my top 5 Final Fantasies. Especially if you take into account some of the fan theories about how how Squall gets killed in the parade at the end of Disc 1, and everything else is him losing consciousness and his final fantasy that he could be the hero in his last moments of life. I love that theory. I don't think it's actually true, but it's a lovely theory. But I didn't mind Squall as a character. There is some growth to him. Cloud in FF7. FF7 is, in my opinion, still one of the most overhyped of Final Fantasies. But even I must admit that as much as I dislike how hyped it is, it's still a good story, and Cloud is still a decent protagonist. The further back, of course, you go, the harder it becomes to tell a good story in Final Fantasy, because, of course, you've got pixel art, you've got sprites, the journey of Terra and Cecil and Cain the Dragoon and Bart, all of those older lead characters. They've all got things to say, they've all got personalities for the most part. But the stories woven around them were still very, very interesting, and it's hard to tell that kind of story when you have got your main character who doesn't speak, who could be any gender, who could be any race, who could have chosen from a wide variety of different sound effects and voice packages. Guild Wars 2 tried it. They did limit the amount of choices that you had in that regard. But I haven't played enough of Heart of Thorns. Well, I haven't played any Heart of Thorns for Guild Wars 2. I haven't played anything since the base game came out. When they were just trying to find out the best way of telling a story. But yeah, I mean, I play games for the story. Even something like Overwatch. I enjoy it for the most part, though I'm not really a competitive shooter kind of player. I like it because the characters have got personality, and every now and again they'll say some things in game. There'll be little extra voice lines or interactions added, and I'll find those little snippets of story quite entertaining. My favourite kind of video game experiences: Mass Effect, Bloodborne, Dark Souls 3. I won't say Dark Souls 1 and 2 because I found their actual control systems too to actually get into the games. There's the collector's edition box art for FF14. But yeah, I love games that are story driven. I get asked quite a lot by my students, because they know I'm a gamer. So like, do you like FIFA? Do you like GTA? Do you like this, that, and the other? It's like, I mean, I know GTA has a story, but I've never really been interested in GTA's story. But you know, FIFA or COD or whatever, it's like Call of Duty can have half decent stories, but the problem is they're only 4 or 5 hours long. It's like, I would much prefer a story that gets me involved, that's not just spectacle. And as I've said multiple times, Final Fantasy XIV is pretty good at making you feel like a hero, at telling a story that makes you feel heroic. And then with this last patch, at least, it does a pretty good job of breaking down that world around you. This idea that you've been built up as such a paragon of virtue, and then at the end you are accused of being an assassin. And as much as I hate political stories, I really enjoyed the ending to this. I've really enjoyed it this second time through, but the first time that I remember actually just sitting and doing basically what I'm doing now, sitting and watching the credits and looking at the artwork and listening to the music and thinking about how my general opinion of political machinations is not really my ideal kind of story, because I hate politics. I'm not a very political person. I'm a bit too socialist to get on with kind of modern political sensibilities. But even then, the kind of subterfuge and espionage and the double dealings, all of that kind of stuff does realistically influence and interest me as a writer. It's the kind of storyline that I can understand if it's told well, that I can get behind, and that I can interact with and really absorb and let influence me. And yeah, I really enjoyed the end of this, the 2.0 series of patches, 2.x series of patches, and it got me really hyped for Heavensward. I mean, as I've said several times, the idea, the thing that I most enjoyed about the 2.x series is all the stuff to do with the religions of Ishgard, the dragon stuff, the heretics, anything to do with religion and belief. And the same goes for the stuff with the primals as well. They were the most interesting to me because of the nuances of belief and conviction and ether made manifest. That was the kind of story detail that I really grasp and really enjoyed playing through, reading through, learning about. So yeah, I mean, the political stuff was great, but going to Ishgard in the expansion and taking part in the Dragonsong War and learning a lot more about the nature of heretics and the high houses of Ishgard, and just because of all the zones in the game, I think Kurthus is probably my favourite in terms of its aesthetic. It's an absolute pain to navigate. You know, if you're trying to do hunts or something, it's an absolute nightmare to make your way around it. But the snow and the aesthetic and the effort put into that, especially because of how Kurthus in 1.0 just looked like brown and grey rocks with a lake or two. I loved it. I love Kurthus, and I was really interested to see more of it. And when I'd finished watching these cutscenes and I was thinking about what kind of stuff will they have in Ishgard, what kind of stuff will they have in this expansion, I made sure I didn't really look at or read too much about what was going to be in Heavensward. So when we got to go to Dravania and Sea of Clouds and Azizlar and all of those other places, it came as a great surprise to me that I was not just interested in the snowy wastelands of Kurthus, but also the reasons for why they were snowy and the reasons for why the Ishgardians were so desperate to get rid of all the heretics and to learn about what had prompted this massive isolationist policy. So yeah, lots and lots of interesting bits and pieces, lots and lots of interesting story, and I think one of the good things that 2.55 does is that it sets up not only for me finding out about Ishgard and Kurthus and all that kind of stuff, but it also got me interested in finding out, well, what happens to Raban now? What happens to Ilberd? What happens to the Scions? Because of course all the way through 2.x the Scions have basically been nigh invincible, and I've always had this bugbear about Minfilia, about how they've sexied her up for 2.0, but also about how she's kind of useless and doesn't do a whole lot of anything. And in Heavensward, fortunately, they do give her more to do. And I'm really looking forward to going back and doing the stuff with Raban, finding out what happens to UL'DAH. It was a really good kind of set of cliffhangers, basically, is what I'm trying to say. Really good set of cliffhangers to end this expansion. Not this expansion, this base game, this series of patches, and to get people pumped for what was to come. So there we go. Final Fantasy XIV, A Realm Reborn, before the fall. I'm just going to let this run now. Also, while I think about it, music. The music in Final Fantasy games has always been superlative. I own all of the soundtracks for Final Fantasy XIV from the very first one. I've even got the Before Meteor one, so all the music from 1.0 as well, because that was one thing that 1.0 very much had going for it, was the quality of the music in that as well, because it's Final Fantasy. It sets the standard for video game music, in my opinion. But I really think that there was a lot of stuff in FF14, 2.0 and 2.x that blew people out of the water. A lot of it we haven't heard in this walkthrough because we focused on the main story. Pretty much all of the dungeons have got their own individual pieces of music to go with them. A lot of the dungeons have got versions of music that changes when it's being played to a battle version of it, and there was a lot of syncing between them. which was something that they did in 1.0 as well, which I really, really liked. The Primals music was always very, very interesting. It's a pity about Leviathans. I always felt that you didn't really hear Leviathan's music properly, but all of the others were very cool. And again, music, if you've got a story-driven game, having just like a story-driven television show or a story-driven film, music adds life to the story. It adds depth to a story. It adds feeling and heart and emotion and reinforces those things, which is why I will continue to rave about the music in this series of games. And it's not just Final Fantasy XIV, it's all of the Final Fantasy games. I don't think any of them have got bad music. I mean, I know a lot of people hate on Final Fantasy XIII and its sequels, but the music in those games is still great. Ooh, do we get something else now? I can't remember. Oh yes.
All has been arranged as you desired, my lord.
So there's the implication here that Lolorito was behind everything after all. Nabrialis is no more. The ardour was not his to invoke. His demise was of his own making. Nevertheless, it concerns me. They have extinguished that which should rightly be eternal. Mayhap he was not wholly mistaken. Greater haste may be warranted. We are of one mind. The northern lands, then? The earth is fertile, and the seeds well sown. By my will they shall reap salvation unlike any the world has known. By his will. By his will. Hold up. Hold up. I have answered thy summons, emissary. Speak, and make thine intent known. I would speak of fate, Archon. Yours, mine, the fate of this very star. Planet. I'd forgotten about that. And here we have the gates of judgment.
thinkest sanctuary lieth beyond. Delusion, despair, death. Thou shalt find naught else here.
To preserve the dawn's light, the heroes journeyed north. Their hearts filled with hope and eyes fixed heavensward. My left arm. So there we go. That's that was A Realm Reborn. And on that note, it's time to go and do some other things, including, I think, either at least a haircut or possibly some Fantasia. I'm thinking some Fantasia. So there we go. Thank you all for joining me on this interesting retrospective. It's been kind of weird, to be honest, going back through. There's a lot of people say that the 2.x quests, the Astral Era quests, which are the ones from 2.1 onwards, are awful. And I don't know. I mean, some of them aren't great, but I won't say any of them are like super duper awful, terrible. Oh God, no. I suppose the issue is that they do take some time to do, and that's really the issue that people have got after you've got the Praetorium stuff done and the promise of Heavensward. I think the issue for a lot of people is that you can't unlock Astrologian, Dark Knights, Machinist until you've got the 2.x stuff done, until you've got access to the next stuff, until you've got access to the actual expansion, then you can't do it. So that's interesting. Anyway, but that's a conversation for another time. For now, toodle pip.